Thank you, Jonathan. It's a pleasure to be here. And I would like to punctuate what he has said. We are one community. And most of my remarks will be on this very topic. We are one community spanning 2 states. We need to work as one. I believe several of the speakers have already alluded to that. So it's always fun to brag about my city. Perhaps I'm a little bit biased, perhaps. But I must say that as I travel around our region and our state, I come away feeling very good about the city of Driggs and the Teton region. I recognize that some of the problems that are so apparent in other communities don't exist to the same degree here, or we have the capacity to deal with them. And that's very exciting to me. I will not focus on figures and facts. For you numbers wonks, I would be happy to present those to you privately, so contact me later if you would like to see sales tax data and so forth. Instead, I'd like to paint a picture of a city finding itself, maturing beyond that gangly, awkward teenage phase. Over the past decade, Driggs has worked hard to implement our 2006 comprehensive plan. Smart growth principles were the focus, emphasizing quality of life and amenities. These efforts have yielded a completed pathway network, part of the Grand Loop vision for the region. Tim, I promised I would work that in. A revitalized and beautiful downtown core, expanded recreation opportunities and access, increased transit services and facilities, expanded airport capacity, a state-of-the-art wastewater facility, library, senior center, regional visitor center, that's the Geotourism Center, first in the world, and business development center, and launch of a gigabit fiber optic network. Thanks to investments by Silver Star Communications in our city, Driggs was, in fact, the first gigabit connected community in the state of Idaho. These improvements are paying off. Investments by the city have spurred private property owners to make similar efforts, multiplying the value of the public investment. Physical infrastructure improvements made by our city make our city a welcoming and friendly place to live, visit, and do business. These infrastructure and quality of life improvements have spurred successful events and micro-communities, some of which have inspired sister events and improvements here in Jackson. Yes, we have inspired things here in Jackson and other communities in the region. The well-known Music on Main, now held in Victor and duplicated here in Jackson, began as a small event on a corner lot in the city of Driggs 10 years ago. A vibrant artistic community has materialized from which grew our annual Snowfest each January. This event, now in its 5th year, has attracted world renown in that short time. Any of you who have not experienced that, I encourage you to take some time to come over and check that out. That happens not next week, but the following, the last week of January. Our annual plein air festival in July and the Targhee Summer Music Festivals, among others. More events crop up each year as Driggs relaxes into this new persona of creative class. The creative spirit in our town reveals itself in entrepreneurial growth as well. We see a steady crop of ideas, emerging business ventures. A few of these homegrown ventures have expanded into world markets and are actually leaders in their industry. The city of Driggs nurtures this creative entrepreneurial class through city-owned incubator spaces, as well as a microloan fund. Our goal being to diversify the Driggs economy beyond construction and tourism. In short, the Driggs community development achievements of the past decade position us to attract and welcome the private investment needed for the 21st century. And so, with that introduction, in response to Jonathan's question, what is crucial for all of you to know? My response is that Driggs is not only prepared for the 21st century, we are already living it. I'm going to make a very bold assertion here. To you news folks, this is your quote of the day. My bold assertion is this: In pure investment potential, Driggs presents the greatest opportunity right now in the Northern Rocky region. City of Driggs presents the greatest investment opportunity right now in the Northern Rocky region. I firmly believe that, and I can back that up. If you get nothing more from my comments today, that's what I want you to take away. Now, with that teaser, Jonathan's second question, what is the single biggest challenge facing us? I will identify actually two. First, the biggest challenge to all of the communities in Teton Valley is our proximity to Jackson Hole. Yes, Jackson is a pain in our rear. Teton County, Idaho, and Teton County, Wyoming are a single microeconomy. That's not the first time you've heard that, folks, and it won't be the last. We are mutually dependent upon each other. This more so than any other community in either state. Teton Valley is closest by distance and most closely associated by business, employees, recreation, tourism, and housing. Perhaps we should jointly secede from our states and form the 51st. But seriously though, Jackson is not an island. I know this comes as a surprise, but it is true. One result of this joined at the hip reality is that the negative impacts Jackson struggles with impact our community inordinately. That is to say, Jackson's problems become our problems. Thanks, but no thanks for sharing. Unfortunately, we don't necessarily realize some of the corresponding benefits as well. This is not unlike the problem expressed by Mike, the difficulty of competing on an unlevel playing field. And we see this in our community. Jackson's growth causes unbalanced pressure on our facilities, our infrastructure, and our markets, which in turn affects our own efforts to grow. We ask that policymakers here acknowledge this reality and work with us to offset these problems. Together we can address them. My counterparts from Idaho will be discussing some of these, so I won't belabor the question of housing and public transportation, but those are the two primary ones that I believe should be addressed regionally. The second challenge I will mention also is related to our proximity to Jackson. This, in fact, is the topic that I would like to focus on in our roundtable discussions, namely, how do we facilitate business startup, expansion, and attraction with limited available incentives? How does our small city, in a state with very few tools for business attraction, draw capable capital for local startups and expanding businesses? And following that, how do we keep homegrown industry in our city, in our state, rather than seeing it lured away to Wyoming? On to Jonathan's next question. What is the single greatest opportunity before us? If I have to distill it to a single item, it would be that we are somewhat of a blank slate. This is where I'll return to my bold statement. Do you remember that? That Driggs is the greatest investment opportunity in the Northern Rockies. In fairness, this opportunity is at least partially also due to our proximity to Jackson Hole. So you may be our biggest pain, but you are also part of our biggest opportunity. We acknowledge that. As I mentioned earlier, we have a city based on smart growth principles. As a result of this and the natural wonders which surround us, our residents enjoy a premier quality of life, but we still have storefronts and offices anxiously awaiting occupation, thriving businesses. We want more good fit businesses and industry located in our town. We have a great quality of life, but we don't yet have a strong base of industry beyond tourism. Our economy doesn't yet stand alone. In our business development efforts, we've identified the following good fit opportunities. Here's your list. Number one, with our top flight airport, we are seeking related industry partners who could utilize that facility, perhaps avionics, aircraft mechanics, any number of things. There are many opportunities. We have a phenomenal airport, folks. The arrival of Air Method ambulance last year is a great step in that direction. For those to whom this means something, Driggs runway is 7,300 feet long. It's longer than Jackson's. Not that that matters. Recreation technology. This is an industry which has developed organically in Driggs and Teton Valley and continues to grow. This includes specialty skis, bindings, and boards, as well as fly rods, drift boats, and bicycles. Number 3, value-added agriculture and food products. With several small farms nearby and a burgeoning food-related activity, Driggs is considering developing a community kitchen incubator space, essentially a full-service kitchen that would be available for small or startup ventures to test their recipes before they go to market. Driggs is also working with regional education entities to make our town a hub for certain technical educational programs, particularly, again, in the aviation industry. And finally, perhaps one of the greatest opportunities is for the lifestyle-centric gig economy, web-based adventures. With our gigabit service and low capital startup requirements, Driggs is a perfect location for such investments, a few of which we've already seen flourish there. So to conclude, Jonathan asks the question, what is one thing the community can do to help address our biggest challenge or opportunity? To that I answer, help connect us with the private capital needed to develop and grow our homegrown businesses. Help connect us with ready and willing industry leaders who are prepared to invest in a community which has reinvented itself over a decade. And help us develop private sector support for retaining our homegrown businesses, our successful businesses, rather than seeing them lured elsewhere. The city of Driggs has shown itself ready by laying the groundwork. Now help us get the word out there and take these next steps. Thank you very much.